Hi, everyone. I'd like to do a shout out to our sponsor, Baco Diagnostics. Early detection is the single most important factor in improving patient outcomes. The Baco Diagnostics team recognizes how impactful a podiatric physician can be and remains committed to supporting you in your role as the first line of defense in diagnosing conditions of the lower extremity. Thanks to the unwavering support of their clients, Baco Diagnostics has been able to give back to the podiatric community for 16 years by providing podiatric educational resources and advocating for the position. Baco Diagnostics, helping podiatric physicians keep America on its feet. If you have not yet had the opportunity to utilize Baco Diagnostics services, get started today by sending an email to corporaterelations@bacodiagnostics.com. The first 50 podiatry offices who request a starter kit will receive a Dean's Chat mug. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Dean's Chat, where we discuss all things podiatric medicine. My name is Dr. Jeffrey Jensen. I'm the Dean at the Arizona College of Podiatric Medicine and co-host for the Dean's Chat podcast. Once again, I'm joined by my co-host, Dr. Joanna Richey. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Jeff. How you doing?
I'm doing fabulous. How's your weekend?
Weekend was good. We were a little disappointed. We were hoping the Rams were going to make it. So, unfortunately, they did not. So, Super Bowl is Patriots and the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Wah, wah.
I was rooting for the Broncos a little bit, and they got the stick too.
I was thinking about you during that game.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's always next year, right?
That's right.
All right. Well, Joe, we have a phenomenal guest today. It's always fun to highlight the graduates of the Arizona College of Podiatric Medicine. Welcome to Dean's Chat, Dr. Matine Mirsaidi.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Matine, it's great to reconnect because I remember when you graduated and then you went to the VA here in Phoenix for 3 years, and you've always been willing to give back. You've been on campus, you're helping with labs. You're just a tremendous young ambassador for the profession, and I thank you for that. And then you went into practice for about a year, but now you've got your own practice, and some of it involves mobile podiatry. So I'm super curious about hearing your story. But before we get into that, I'd love to hear, A, how you found out about podiatry, B, your shadowing experiences to ensure that that's really what you wanted to do, and then C, how'd you decide on the Arizona College?
Yeah. So that's a funny story. I had knowledge of podiatrists just in general, as a profession, but it had never crossed my mind when I was an undergraduate at Arizona State. And I was working and I had a gap year, and I was like, you know what, I need to take this time to do some shadowing and see exactly what kind of field I want to go into. And during my gap year, there was a lot of free time, obviously, and with free time comes with a lot of daytime television. And with that daytime television, there was a show, I think it was called The Doctors or something, and they would bring on somebody of a different profession every time. And they brought on a podiatrist who practiced in California. And he was talking about different types of techniques, surgical techniques, non-surgical, with treating bunions and things like that. And I was like, this is interesting. It's something to think about. Light bulb went off in my head. And I said, you know what, I got to find a podiatrist here in the Valley and see if that's maybe a way to go. And what really differentiated it for me was, I loved every shadowing experience I had with any profession in medicine, but the one key distinction that I saw was the patients, as far as satisfaction goes, right after their appointment was something really, really noticeable to me. And it wasn't always just writing prescriptions or doing things like that, which all have their place, but I felt like those patients were really getting pure satisfaction after their visits, and the doctor themselves seemed to have a great satisfaction with his life and his profession as well. So I said, you know what, I need to do some more digging as far as this goes.
Well, that's fantastic. And then your digging led you to the Arizona College of Podiatric Medicine.
Yes, it did. Yeah. And I've been in Arizona basically since my entire life, since I was 5 years old. And I did my undergraduate here. I did a master's in biomedical sciences at Midwestern as well. So that was kind of my gateway into the Arizona College as well. And it was always my first choice. I mean, there's tons of great programs across the country, and but who doesn't want to stay home if they have the opportunity? especially in a great facility like this, especially with faculty that I already knew as far as the basic sciences went at Midwestern. So it seemed like a great fit.
Well, for this episode of Dean's Chat, we can be very biased. We're all things college, podiatric medicine. Joe, your thoughts?
I don't think you could remove the bias. Let's be honest. Like it's, at some point, as much as we try to be unbiased, they are our lived experiences, right? And Matine, I'm also a graduate from Midwestern, much older than you, but I appreciate and share the sentiment. We've been in the Valley. We moved when I was 7, so same kind of a deal where it's kind of hard to beat Arizona. I was joking that this morning it was 39 degrees. It's so cold. And then a friend of mine from New York sent me these beautiful pictures of the snow. And yeah, Arizona is a place for me. It's a good place to live.
You know what's funny about that? This weekend, our relatives on the East Coast were getting pounded with snow, and I think on Friday it was minus 17 just north of Chicago. And I just kind of, to soften the blow, I said, well, because I didn't want to say, hey, it's 75 degrees in Phoenix. So what I said was, well, that's kind of like the middle of summer when it's 110 or 15, and just let it go. Yeah.
That's right.
Not that we needed that big tangent, but hey, you know what? Come to Arizona. Weather's beautiful. So Matine, you had 4 years here at the Arizona College, and then you went to the VA here in Phoenix. Tell us about that experience.
Oh, great experience. I rotated there as a student as well for an extended amount of time. Towards the end, it was cut a little short with COVID and everything, all of our rotations being more, becoming more virtual or things like that. But as a third year, and that was the year, I would say 2018, 2019, we still had a great experience there. I was there at least 2 to 3 months, and I loved it. Felt like it was a great fit, very hands-on. Students have a lot of autonomy and they get their hands dirty right away. And I love that. But it's also, there's great supervision. There's residents there that are willing to help you. There's faculty and attendings there that are always hands-on, and their doors are always open. And I felt it was very similar to kind of the experience I had at Midwestern, to continue the bias that we have going on. It's just very accessible, and it was a safe space for learning. And, with learning sometimes comes a mistake or two, but that's how you learn. And I think that really, really made it stand out above the rest for me as far as those 3 years go.
Joe, your thoughts, because that is so good as a student. We see this all the time. Students will do their clerkships and their rotations. They end up going where they were clerks because they clicked, they liked it, they knew what they were getting into. Everybody knew what they were getting into. Joe, your thoughts.
Yeah, I appreciate what you have to say there too, Martine, that there's the supervision part of it, because it's wonderful as a student to have those opportunities to get that hands-on experience. But you are a student, and it can be very overwhelming if you don't have someone that you feel comfortable kind of bouncing things off of. And I'd love to hear some of your mentors, if you have any shout outs that you would want to give. And they can be current, they can be past, but who would you give credit to that have helped you along your path?
Oh, there's so many names. I think what the good thing about the VA was we had great staff that were on the staff full time. Dr. Perosi obviously was the chief there, and even when I started, and Dr. Steve Geller, who's not with us anymore, who was the chief when I was a student there, was actually someone who was very adamant on me ranking the VA. He's like, hey, you want to come here? This is a great program. You feel like you're a great fit. And he was one of the first people I talked to. So it was really unfortunate that I wasn't able to have my residency experience with him there, but still the staff they had there. And we would get a lot of faculty from the outside who would come in part-time. And, Dr. Marshall, who's there full-time now, but he was part-time when I was there. And then Dr. Tim Harlan was probably somebody who I was very close to. He would come there on Tuesday afternoons, and we would also scrub cases with him outside the facility as well. And I think he was a perfect example of somebody who, it was that supervision, like you were talking about. He would let you learn. He would let you go out there, get your feet wet, and kind of see what's going on. But he was always there, and he knew if things were getting to a point where you were getting overwhelmed or you were uncomfortable or out of your comfort zone, he was right there to help you. So special shout out for him as well. And we still keep in contact. And even as a colleague now, I always know I can always bounce my questions off him if they come up.
So do you call him Tim now?
It's so hard. That's one of the biggest transitions where I'm like, doctor, and they're like, you can call me Tim, you can call me this. And I'm like, I really don't feel comfortable. Like, give me another year, maybe.
Yeah. I remember that was the funniest transition. And Jeff, I'm curious your take on this too. But that moment of when you're a resident and then it's like overnight, now you're a colleague, but it doesn't just change like that. That's a funny kind of period of like, how do I like, I don't know if I can call you by your first name yet.
Well, I am the same way because Dr. Cannett was my residency director, and he is kind of an icon in the profession. And even when I was 40 years old, 45 years old, it was, hey, Dr. Cannett,
Yeah.
To that same point, last week, we interviewed Dr. Lawrence Olaf.
Yeah.
He was my dean when I was in California. Dr. Olaf rolls off my tongue. I would never in a million years think of calling him Larry, right? I mean, that's just, but I agree. Can I do a quick shout out to Dr. Steve Geller? The American Board of Podiatric Medicine is now giving out at each college of podiatric medicine around the country, and there's 11 of them now, the Stephen Geller Award in medicine. And Steve was a classmate of mine, or I should say I was a classmate of his. And I had lots of great memories. Steve was brilliant, just a phenomenal doctor, tremendous teacher. But my best memories of Steve were going to the Anchor Steam Brewery in San Francisco back in the early 90s. So he's just, I'm so glad that the American Board of Podiatric Medicine decided to name their annual award after Steve, and it was very, very well deserving, and he passed away unexpectedly in 2020. So thanks for bringing his name up. And the irony is, we just had an awards committee meeting where we were giving out different awards. We're already planning for graduation. So that's the second time Steve's name came up today. So that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So let's move on a little bit. When you graduated, you found a job locally. Mm-hmm. You still were finding time to come back to the school and help out with our student training. But after that, you went off into a little different direction, kind of a more non-traditional direction. Can you share with us your story of the kind of getting into the mobile care?
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, after graduation, I started as an associate. I worked at 2 different practices part-time because that was their necessity at the time. And it was great. The experience was amazing. And I worked with 2 brilliant doctors and as well businessmen too, who really helped me on that side of it. And as far as billing goes and those types of things, because I mean, even in residency, I feel like because you're so overwhelmed with so much of the, the caseload and the patients and things like that, you don't get as much exposure to the billing aspects. So that's really, once you're out in the open, you really start to have to pick that up on your own. And I feel like that year of working with them really, really helped me get to that. But as you know, I've always been somebody who I come from a long line of business owners, and I've always wanted to do my own thing. And how I got into the mobile sector was after I left those positions, I was looking for something, and I said, I was looking for different jobs, and I said, okay, there's these mobile podiatry positions available. And I said, why can't I do that myself? Why do I have to rely on somebody else to get those patients for me? I'll do the legwork. I'll go out there. I'll put myself out there, and it's tough at first, but if you work hard enough and you make those connections and you give what those patients deserve, you give that service that they deserve and be available for them, it works out. And I'm starting to reap the benefits of that, and I start to see it every day. And it's hard work, but I love it because it's mine, at the end of the day. And I think that's really, it's so rewarding when you get that. But like I said, it doesn't diminish any of the experiences that I had beforehand. And I think you have to have those to get where you are today anyway.
That's for sure. Joe, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd love to dive in a little further if you're willing to talk about that. We just came off a call talking with Jim McDaniel about this idea of leaning into the areas that you kind of gravitate towards. And you're still a very young practitioner, Matine. And so being able to already start to identify the areas that you had said it, like, this is mine and I can create this and I can make it what I want exactly to my specifications, which also means that I carry all the responsibility of it. But can you talk a little bit about, were there friction points for you? Did you have any hesitations? And then maybe if you have advice for someone who might be feeling similar points of friction, and what you would tell that person.
Absolutely, yeah. There's that hesitation because, like I said at the beginning, you're starting from zero. You're starting from zero, and that's a risk. And I think with any sort of big reward you're chasing, that risk does exist. Now, does everybody want to do that, or does everybody have that type of personality? No, and that's the beauty of the world we live in. Everybody's kind of different in their own way, and they chase different types of dreams, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I think definitely having some sort of experience in that sector of working for somebody, getting the business aspect of it, if you don't have that background, I think is very, very useful. Like I said, with me, I have a business background, but I didn't have a healthcare business background. My family's owned like in the food industry and like cleaning industry and things like that. So I know the business, but I don't know the healthcare business. So that's why I took that time in that year or so to learn some of the healthcare business as well, because I think that is really the game changer when you get to do your own practice. And I think that really set it above the rest. But hesitation will always exist. And it's just, you have to be honest with yourself at the end of the day and what you want to get out of it and what type of life you're trying to live with it. And I think obviously with working for somebody, you have that job security where you know you're going to have X amount of patients a certain day, but sometimes there's a ceiling involved. And, you can only grow so much. And I think for me, I said, we've worked so hard to get where we are. For me, I don't want that ceiling to be that low. I want it to be the sky where I can go as high as I want to. So that's why I chose this path.
We all know that early detection is the most important determination in improving patient outcomes. Bako Diagnostics remains committed to supporting you in your role as the first line of defense in diagnosing lower extremity pathologies. Bako Diagnostics, helping podiatric physicians keep America on its feet.
Yeah, and I think that is such a beautiful message. We know that the things that really make someone satisfied in the work that they do, it comes down to mastery, autonomy, and purpose. And to your point, you can find those things sometimes in employment settings. And sometimes, I liked your word, you hit a ceiling. It's not that they're not there, but for individual people, you may hit your ceiling where you've gone as far as you can go. And everyone's time span on when they get there changes or fluctuates with the individual as well. And so I appreciate those insights. You had said that learning about the business of healthcare, were there specific resources or courses or anything that you felt were really useful that you got a lot of benefit from?
So as far as courses go, so anytime we would do for CMEs and things like that. Obviously, you go to seminars and things like that, but also they offer the online ones. And I would always lean towards the business ones too at the beginning, because I'm like, this is something where I feel like I just don't have that much exposure to it, and I think it could be really useful. Those types of things I think really helped me. And then just honestly, the hands-on experience of working in those offices, talking to the billers, because they are the ones, even more than the doctors, and they'll even admit it themselves that they see it on a day-to-day. They know, as far as the coding goes and things like that, they are your perfect resource, and they're very open about helping you out when you need it. And I always told them at the beginning, even when I started working, I said, please don't hesitate to tell me I did something wrong, or if I need to improve something, or if I need to do, I don't care. I don't have that sort of an ego. I never have. So please just tell me. And I want to learn, because I want to do it the right way, because at the end of the day, that's what pays off. And I think the hands-on experience and working in the environment with those people was probably the best for me.
That's great, Matine. I've got a couple questions for you about the mobile business. Anytime there's a risk and reward, you feel like you're jumping in the deep end and you're not sure if you can swim or not. And there is an element of that. But so my first question is, when you first started, like, how did you access new patients? I mean, the connections, were they docs you knew? Were they skilled nursing facilities? Or, I mean, how did you play that out? Because I'm having this mental image of, okay, I need to get these appointments. I need to have an appointment book. I need to be able to get where I'm going. I got to deliver quality care. I got to schedule follow-ups. Can you do all that on your phone, or how does that work?
That's a great question. And that's the way I came up to it was actually, I was looking for a job, right? When I was in between those jobs, and I was just looking on any sort of job posting website, and I saw they had like a mobile podiatrist position. And I thought it was a position of like an employment. I contacted them and they told me that, hey, no, we run that wellness center at a retirement community, and we're looking for a podiatrist to come on. And I said, okay, as an employee. They said, no, you do everything on your end. We have the patients here that need to be seen, and then you can get them scheduled. And I said, well, how much is this going to cost? Nothing. This is your business. We just want our residents to be seen. So that's kind of how I got into one sector of it. So I have some of my more recurring patients at that facility, and then they have another branch over in the Sun City area, which I go to them a couple of times a month as well. And the original one was over in the Sun Lakes area. So that was my first one. And then I honestly started reaching out to mobile primary care providers out in the Valley as well. And I put my name out there, and basically sometimes you just have to cold call and see kind of what sticks. You call 100 places and 10 of them hit, they do. And that's really what I did. I just put myself out there, and a few of them reached out. And once the word gets out, the others start to come in. And now more of the skilled nursing and things like that, they start sending more referrals. There's a lot of like hospice facilities as well that will call. It's very, very broad. And mobile urgent care, I have some people that will reach out as well. But it's all started with that one where I thought it was a regular employment job, but it turned out to be the start of my business. So that's kind of how it started. But as far as the day-to-day goes, it's, you get it on a schedule to a point where I tell myself, okay, I'm going to be in the East Valley, for example, tomorrow, and I'll get all my East Valley referrals on that day. And then I'll be in the West the next day. So it's just managing the schedule like that, I think, is the best way to do it.
That makes sense. So, because sometimes you think of mobile care and you're wondering if you're pulling up a van with X-ray units and everything else. I mean, you don't know, and you know the definition of things sometimes. So I like what you're doing. That's fabulous, and it's fulfilling. I mean, you're helping people. To your point earlier, you can tell the difference from the minute you walk in to the minute you leave. They're doing better.
Yep, absolutely.
Excellent. Joe, any thoughts? More thoughts there?
So like just logistical questions. So to Jeff's point, let's say you're seeing one of your patients and you think they need a little more care than what you're able to provide on site. What happens at that moment?
That's a great point. And I've actually had one recently where there's something similar to that happened, where you get a referral for an ingrown nail, for example, and you're going in with the mindset of ingrown nail. And then you get there and then there's a wound with bone exposure, and then you're like, okay, this changed drastically. So for me, I got my credentialing, at certain hospitals and things like that, for if something like that does happen, I have that sort of opportunity to follow those patients. Now, sometimes I'll get patients where they won't be going to the hospital that I am credentialed at, or if it's not in their insurance network. I will still make sure that those, if, for example, if I send them to the ER, I will make sure that I give them all the information. I'm doing a clean handoff to them. And I always tell my patients, even after your discharge, you can always call me and you can always follow up with me. And I'm more than happy to, but I want to make sure you're in the right hands as well. And I'm not just going to kick you off and say, okay, you're not my patient anymore. I want to make sure they're taken care of. But the ones that in the majority of the time where I can follow them, I will. And yeah, because you can't do everything in somebody's home or in an assisted living and things like that. It's not safe for them, and you just don't have the resources. So if I feel that's the case, then I know where to send them.
And it's incredible now with technology getting better and better. We can do the little butterfly ultrasound that you hook up to a cell phone. Mm-hmm. I know there's a small handheld X-ray now. I don't know. Are those some of the things that you take with you, or?
So X-ray, I haven't ventured into. I haven't been that brave as far as finding the little X-rays. So I do. I either work with them if they need a mobile X-ray. I will refer them to one, or if they can travel to one, I will just write an order for them to get an X-ray. But I do have a mobile ultrasound, like the butterfly ones that I do take, and very useful, extremely useful for a number of things. Whether if it's heel pain, or even if it's like some sort of fluid filled where you think it's an abscess, you're trying to rule something out, things like that. And it really does pay dividends. And you're absolutely right. The technology is getting to a point where everything is literally in the palm of your hand. And I think that helps in our profession as well. And I think what I'm trying to do as well nowadays is I love my mobile practice, and I think it has room to grow. And I think even converting it into a hybrid practice down the road would be really useful, where you get the best of both worlds. And I can help people because some insurances don't pay for mobile podiatry unless you're absolutely in need for it, or if they pay out of pocket. But I want my patients who don't qualify for that, for them to have an option. So that's what we're working on now, is trying to find a space that makes sense for us, where we can combine the two.
It's awesome.
That makes sense. So my next question probably kind of dovetails right into this. Is there a direct care or cash component to your practice?
Absolutely, yeah. For patients who want to go that route, there is, and we try to be as competitive as we can, especially for me just starting out. For example, one thing that they always ask me about is orthotics, and they're like, "Well, I went to so and so, and they want to charge me this amount. Like how?" And I said, "Okay, well, I can always help you out there." Especially, I say, "Well, we're doing a winter special, for example. There you go. We get you some orthotics, things like that." And I always try to help out my patients as much as I can. At the end of the day, because it's the connections that you make that are priceless, and those patients will stick with you. I think, rather than if you're on a set sort of standards of this is the price and there's no wiggle room, then some people might not like that. So I think for me, I try to be as flexible as I can with them, and I do offer that, and it's starting to pick up a little bit more nowadays.
That makes sense, because I keep thinking about customer service is so important, and quality care is so important, and these are not easy patients either. They're complicated sometimes. So my hat's off to you for starting your new business and giving Phoenix area residents an opportunity to get great care. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Joe, you want to do some rapid fire?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Matine, I'll go first. So long week, Friday night, time to go out for dinner. Where are you going in the Phoenix area?
Ooh, well, such a great question. It's easy for me now because I just went here last Friday. There's a new place over in downtown Phoenix. It's called Cleaverman. It's like a steakhouse, like American type of grill. Phenomenal place. It mixes the old school and the new school very well. And I think it's definitely at least worth a try to go one time. And it's a nice little central hub in the downtown Phoenix area. Cleaverman, yeah, like a meat cleaver.
There you go. A little context helps. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, Matine. So you do some driving during your day. What kind of tunes are you listening to?
Oh, that's great. So I have a system. It's interesting. So I'm a big sports guy. So I love my sports. So most of the time I'm listening to like sports talk radio, things like that. And then I tell myself, Fridays, give yourself a treat, listen to some music. And I always go on my Spotify and I find there's actually this new, I don't know how new it is, but there's a AI DJ where it picks the songs that you like the most and it will play them for you basically. So I just let the DJ do its thing and I just drive away. And that's my Friday treat. I listen to music. Other times I'm listening to the radio and seeing what's going on in the world. So
that's awesome. So what style of music are you putting in the AI Spotify playlist creator?
My music taste is so all over the place. So I'll listen to anything from R&B from the 90s to hard rock from the early 2000s to anything even in the 70s. So it's my AI DJ working overtime. I'll tell you that, because it is picking things from all over the place. And I had my parents were in the car once with me. They're driving. They're like, what are these, like, this song? You have a song from the 60s and now it's something from last. Like, I'm like, this is how it is. This is get on board. This is how it's going to be.
There you go.
That's fabulous. So I'm into sports talk radio too. Who's your favorite host?
Oh, so I listen to the Arizona sports radio. So I'll listen to like Bickley and Murata in the morning. That's usually like where I start out my day. And then like by the time I'm finishing up, it's like Burns and Gambo, and I'll listen to that. And then I'll tune into ESPN radio if there's something as well. And I like to see what's going on locally first, because that's where, like I said, I've been here all my life. That's my roots. So it's my first peak of interest always.
That's great. You know, one of the great things about streaming now is I can come home after work and my poor wife has to listen to Colin Cowherd for a couple hours. The herd. And
The herd, yes.
but he's got some great takes, and I also like the local vibe though. Although there's not much to cheer about with the Cardinals right now. They can't even get a coach.
Yes. That was all the rage today. They were talking to like, well, it's almost February and we still don't have a coach. And at least the basketball team is better than expected. And I think that's been a fun surprise for us. And I think with the Cardinals, you just gotta wait and hope, like always.
We hit a nerve with Joe. She's a huge Cardinal.
Yeah, you can see like how the face is like melting as we're talking about it. Like my anxiety is going up as you talk about the coaching situation. I got an earful last night from my husband and his brother about some of these exact topics. So
Very good.
But that's the sign of a true Cardinals fan. If you're only cheering them on when they're winning, it's rare, first and foremost. But that's not a real fan, right?
No.
Real fans are in the mud, grumpy
Yes.
and sad.
So Joe, my Packers hired Gannon as their defensive coordinator. And he led the Eagles to like top defense a few years ago. I think it's a good move, and it's tough. It's tough being a coach and putting everything together. And you can be a great coach, and if you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to have a great year. Or injury bug gets you. You just never know. So
Yeah, and there's a lot of factors that go into it. You know,
Yeah.
quality of life for players. Like there are benefit packages. There's all kinds of factors that play that sometimes the coaches don't have direct influence over either.
totally. So Matine, New England versus Seattle
Ooh,
in
predictions.
the Bay Area. Oh, who you going with?
All right. So who do I want to win and who I think is going to win are two different
Sure.
stories, right? So I've always liked New England, and I know that's rare for people, but one of my best friends who actually went to Midwestern with me, we did the master's program together, and he went to the DO program. He was from Massachusetts, big Patriots fan. So always with him, I would support the Patriots, and I always liked their organization and what they did. And I mean, they have 6 titles. I mean, you can't really. Now, however they got them, that's up for debate for a lot of people. But I prefer them to win. But I think the Seahawks, what they showed yesterday, where you really don't see a superstar on that offense, and they still can put up 30 to 40 points a game and make it look easy. So I think they're going to take some stopping, and I think they're going to get revenge from that last Super Bowl, and they will run it. They will run the ball this time and not throw it to them on the 1 yard line.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
The other thing is, how can you not root for Sam Darnold, right? I mean, I just like him. He's good. Joe, what are your thoughts? Super Bowl coming up.
I'm cheering for a good game.
There you go.
That's but I have to, like, if I have to go with my gut, I want New England to win.
All right.
Can't be a Cardinals fan and root for the Seahawks. Like, it's like in my blood.
Ooh, you are hardcore. You are hardcore.
Well, we are hardcore. There's why there's so much yelling and anxiety on Sundays in our house. I mean, not now. Now they're out of it, so it doesn't matter. But
Love it. All right. Well, Matine, we are so grateful and thankful that you made time to join us on Dean's Chat. It's just great to highlight your story and success. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for having this platform for everybody. It's so unique, and it's been a pleasure of mine.
All right. Very good. Joe, any last words on your end?
No, thank you so much for your time. And it's a neat new space for podiatry. And Jeff and I were talking, one of our favorite things about podiatry is that there is no one size fits all. There are so many different opportunities. And I really appreciate what you said about this is mine. I can create it, I can build it, and I can figure out how I want that to look and scale in the future. And I think there's a lot of people that resonates with. So thank you for sharing so honestly your experiences. And we just really appreciate your time.
I appreciate yours as well. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, to all of our listeners out there, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please give us a 5-star rating, perhaps leave a comment or two. And if you're watching on YouTube, by all means, become a subscriber. Joe and I will continue to bring leaders in podiatric medicine, from students to residents to fellows to young practitioners to other leaders. So Matine, thanks again for joining us. We're going to send you a Dean's Chat mug. And you can start your day the Dean's Chat way with Sports Talk Radio. There you go.
We'll need to get a travel mug because that's hard to stick with you in the car.
True,
I don't know if you prefer to drink your coffee while you drive, but
Matine, stop by the office. I've got some swag for you. That will take care of that travel mug.
there you go.
will. I'll be there next week probably. I'll see you guys.
I look forward to it. All right. Thank you so much. All right. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.